My mother had a funny habit. She never met me right at the station when I came home to Crestwood from New York City. She'd always say she was too busy getting things perfect for my arrival, so I always made the familiar walk alone. I'd go up Maple Avenue, past the old textile mills and the high school football field, lost in my own thoughts. Tonight, that walk felt longer than usual. I was carrying a piece of news that felt both wonderful and incredibly heavy. How was I supposed to tell my mother? I was diligent about my weekly letters home. She knew all about my life in the city, the names of my friends, my struggles, and my triumphs. I mentioned Chloe and her family often, but a letter can't truly capture the depth of what was happening. You can't just write, "Dear Mom, I think Chloe likes me. Actually, I'm deeply in love with her. I'm pretty sure she loves me too, so I'm going to ask her to marry me." It just doesn't work like that. Well, I couldn't write it, but I did it. On December 20th, I asked Chloe to be my wife, and she said yes. But my mother knew nothing. Now, on the evening of December 22nd, I was walking home to spend Christmas with her, engaged, and she was completely in the dark. My mother was a widow, and I was her only son. I was terrified she'd feel replaced or unhappy. I braced myself for a difficult conversation. As I reached the front porch, before I could even lift my hand to ring the bell, the door swung open. There she was, my mother, her face lit up with a warm smile. She threw her arms around me. "Oh, Liam, how are you, sweetie?" "I'm great, Mom. How are you?" I replied, trying to sound casual. She looked radiant, almost younger than her 45 years, with an excited sparkle in her eyes. There was something unusual in her smile, a knowing look that made my heart skip a beat. I thought, she knows. How could she possibly know I'm engaged? But I kept my mouth shut. You have to tread carefully with mothers. I'll tell her at supper, I decided. I went up to my old bedroom to drop off my bags. When I came back down, my mother was humming in the kitchen. I peeked into the dining room and stopped in my tracks. A surprise was waiting, but it wasn't the one I expected. The table was set for three. 3 chairs, 3 plates, 3 glasses. My mind raced. So a guest is coming. It had to be Chloe. My mother, in her mysterious way, must have found out and was planning the most incredible surprise for me. My wonderful Chloe was coming to Crestwood for Christmas. Just then, the doorbell rang. It's her, I thought, my heart pounding with excitement as I rushed to the door and pulled it open. But it wasn't Chloe. It was Mr. Harrison, an old friend of the family. He was a big, sturdy man of about 50 who had been a tremendous help to my mother after my father passed away. "Good evening, young man," he said with a hearty smile. "It's good to see you back home." "Liam, Mr. Harrison is joining us for supper," my mother called from the kitchen. Mr. Harrison often had dinner with us during my visits, but never on the very first night. I liked him, but tonight his presence felt like an obstacle. I needed to talk to my mother alone. I couldn't possibly bring up Chloe with him sitting right there. We sat down for supper, making small talk about the weather and city life, but none of us ate much. My mind was entirely focused on how I would break my news once Mr. Harrison left. As the meal ended, I announced, "I need to run to the post office. I have an important letter to mail." "Can't it wait until tomorrow, dear?" my mother asked. "No, it really can't," I insisted. The letter, of course, was for Chloe. A letter to her could never wait. As I headed for the door, Mr. Harrison chuckled. "A letter to a lady, I presume?" "Yes, sir," I replied with a smile. I walked to the post office, mailed my letter, and returned home, hoping to find my mother alone. To my disappointment, Mr. Harrison was still there, smoking a cigarette by himself in the sitting room. "Where's Mom?" I asked. "She just stepped out for a moment," he said, gesturing to the chair opposite him. "Come, sit down, have a cigarette. I'd like to have a word with you, Liam." I took one and sat, hoping this wouldn't take long. "Well, my boy," he began, looking me straight in the eye, "how would you feel about having me as a stepfather?" For a moment, the world stopped. I couldn't move or speak. "What?" I finally managed to say. "You mean you and my mother?" "Yes, my boy," I confirmed with a gentle smile. "I asked her yesterday and she said yes. I've wanted to for a very long time, and I think she knew it. Did she mention anything in her letters? He let out a soft laugh. No, it's a difficult thing to write in a letter, isn't it? She couldn't very well write, "My dear Liam, our old friend Mr. Harrison seems to be falling in love with me, and I believe I'm falling for him too." I don't think your mother could write that, could she? I broke into a laugh, the tension in my chest finally releasing. No, I guess she couldn't. I stood up and reached out to shake his hand. This is wonderful news, truly. A moment later, my mother walked in, a slight blush on her cheeks. "The boy is very happy, Eleanor," Mr. Harrison said to her. I didn't say a word about my plans that evening. It was a strange and profound realization that my mother, could fall in love, and that a man could fall in love with her. It suddenly dawned on me that she must have been lonely in our old house, that she deserved a new life of her own. Perhaps, like most sons, I had only been thinking about myself and my own life. So I decided my news could wait. Tonight was for my mother. I could tell her about Chloe tomorrow. We live and we learn.